Welcome back. Now we have our cheese grits in the oven. It's time to move on to the ham steaks and red eye gravy. Right now we've got about 1/4 cup of oil. You can also use leftover bacon grease or even ham grease. We're gonna put that on about a medium or medium-low heat to get that oil heated up. Right now we have ham steaks cut and ready to go. We're just gonna season them up real simple. Put a little black pepper on each of the steaks. Looks good. And take a pinch of your favorite seasoning salt and just kind of sprinkle that around there on the ham steaks, just like so. Now that the hams are going in there like this, you want to kind of look, and when the ham starts to kind of bubble up like that, I'm going to go ahead and just give it a flip. Just let you know that one side has gotten warm enough to get that ham steak warmed up. You can start to see around the edges some of the browning that you're wanting to get from that. Alright, let these ham steaks sit in here and sear a little bit in the oil. As you can tell, some of the spices and also the dripping of the ham has got down in the pan here. That's going to make for a great red eye gravy. And this steak especially is done how it's curled up. So we're going to go ahead and take this out. And what I've done is I've taken a plate and I've put a couple paper towels down. We're just going to set it right down on there. There we go. The best thing to do with these is they've got so much grease on them now that you will go ahead and put another paper towel on top. And be careful because it is hot, but just kind of pat and you can see some of that grease will lift off. It's not going to affect the flavor any, but it will help it not being so greasy. Okay. Now this doesn't take that long. After we get the hams out, what you want to do is take your spatula and just kind of scrape the bottom of the pan. What that's going to do is get a lot of that ham dripping that fried in there off the pan and get it into the oil. See how it starts to melt away. There we go. The thing with red eye gravy, it's a Southern classic. It's done different ways here in the South, and basically it's the poor man's gravy. The band that I play with decided to name our band this because we wanted to bring country music back to the poor man. The days of the Depression, people had to limit what they did with things that cost a little bit more than others, and cream was one of them. So instead of making gravy with cream and wasting it on that, they would use other things, and the one thing they would use the most is coffee. And so it became the poor man's gravy. A lot of folks do different things with red eye gravy. Most just basically splash in hot coffee into this hot grease, and that's their sauce. What I like to do is go ahead and take a little bit of flour, I would say 2 heaping tablespoons of flour, and we're just going to dust it right in there. And then to kind of sweeten it up a little bit, we'll take about 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And you're going to kind of just stir that in there with all the ham drippings and the oil and create a nice roux. Make sure it gets nice and stirred in there. And let that heat back up, because once we pour the coffee in there, you want the oil to be as hot as it can. And you still want to keep it on a good, I would say medium to medium-low temperature. As you can tell, the consistency is already changing with the flour and the brown sugar. It's funny, I'll actually show you, and it might happen sometimes in my past in doing red eye gravy. It doesn't always happen. The name red eye gravy is that you get the oil so hot that when you pour the coffee in, it boils over, and you actually see a circle in the middle of the oil like a red eye. That's where the name supposedly came from. As you can tell, my oil is not quite hot enough, so we're just gonna keep stirring it and getting a little bit more heat on all that. All right, now that we've got that hot enough, we got our brown sugar and our flour in there, right? Good enough. We're gonna take, a heaping good cup of coffee, and we're just gonna layer that right in there. And all that steam, hoping you folks at home actually saw a red eye pop up. What you're gonna do now is just kind of lower the heat down a little bit and just stir. The one thing about it, when folks think about red eye gravy, they think of a sawmill gravy, your regular white gravy, or even a brown gravy. And it's called red eye gravy, but more or less it's actually a sauce. It's real thin, there's not much thickness to it at all. Just keep stirring that for a little while on low heat until you think it's been stirred enough, and then just turn the heat down and that sucker is ready to serve. All right, I think we got it just timed just right to get our ham steaks and our red eye gravy. It's been about 60 minutes and those cheese grits look wonderful. Pull them out. Well, I wish you guys could smell this. This is almost better than having Folgers in your cup in the morning. The smell of that cheese and that butter, that aroma is just so stimulating. What we're gonna do is gonna let this sit for a little bit, let it cool down before we cut into it. All right, our grits have cooled now. We pulled them out of the oven. We'll go ahead and serve this up. We have our ham steak on the plate, our red eye gravy in the waiting. Just take a spatula, kind of cut you out a little portion there of the cheese grits. Look how easy that cuts in, boy howdy. Slide it up, put it right there on the platter. Take you a nice ladle, get you a nice scoop of the gravy, and pour it on both tops. It's ready to serve up. This is a family affair, so my brother gets the first dish. As rich as this meal is, I recommend a good dark beer such as a Guinness. We're all done here. This is Josh Robertson, and now you're cooking.
I'm gonna kill you! I know where you live and I'm gonna kill you. I got 22.